Greetings everyone and welcome to today's Kahkashan-e-Sharq webinar. I am Suhail Panah, the program manager of this webinar. Greetings everyone and welcome to today's Kahkashan-e-Sharq webinar. I am Suhail Panah, the program manager of this webinar. Currently, the whole world is facing an unprecedented crisis. The main feature of crisis, which they are unexpected, that puts decision makers in a situation of anxiety and confusion. The corona epidemic virus has emerged in a variety of areas that, due to a lack of similar experiences, has endangered not only governments and the healthcare industry, but organizations in all sectors. It's clear that basically all efforts should be focused on controlling this disease. Besides these issues, the impact of coronavirus on the economy and business is also very important. So, the Economic Faculty of Kahkashan-e-Sharq will hold an international webinar entitled Human Resources Post-Covid19 with the participation of international professors. The Directorate of Kahkashan-e-Sharq and the Dean of Economic Faculty, Dr. Khalid Siddiqian, is particularly pleased to be able to welcome today's webinar guests. I will be introducing the honorable guests from a friend country, India, Dr. Meldor Darwal, Professor, Department of Economics, School of Business Studies, Sharda University, Greater Noida, India. Topic, Rethinking Human Resources Post-COVID-19. Dr. Murgi Parekh, Professor of BK School of Professional and Management Studies, Gujarat University. Topic, The Future of Human Resource in the Face of COVID-19. Dr. TUSHINDER, KAUR, Professor of Metal School of Business, Lavdi Professional University, Punjab, India. Topic, Technology and Human Resource Trade of Post-COVID-19 Scenario. Muhammad Asif Shah, Assistant Professor of Economics, Bakhta University, Kabul, Afghanistan. Topic, Transition of Human Resources Skills aimed COVID-19 Pandemic. Dr. Tawheed Nabi, Assistant Professor of Metal School of Business, Lavdi Professional University, Punjab, India. Topic, Leadership During Crisis. And Dr. Khalid Siddiqian, Dean of Economic and Management Faculty of Kahkashan-e-Sharq, Institute of Higher Education. Topic, Challenges of Human Resources Professional in COVID-19 Pandemic. So welcome everyone to the webinar. And now we're about to start the program, and Dr. Mirdol is going to start our program with her topic.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for giving. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning. Good
and
morning, sir.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. One thing I want to clear that I am not a HR expert. I am teaching economics and international business. Whatever I am giving a presentation, it is on the base of my practical experience. What my colleagues, what the employees of the organization, what challenges they are facing, and I have discussed before starting this presentation, I have discussed with my HR manager, those who are handling the recruitment, or then I get the practical experiences from them, and what as a faculty member we are facing from HR point of view, that thing I am going to cover. So could you give me the sharing rights?
Yes, please.
But it is disabled. It's showing their host disabled participant screen sharing.
It's not disabled here. Disabled? Is that disabled?
Yes.
We will enable. Wait.
Now, may I share my screen?
Only wait for a few seconds. Only wait for a few seconds.
Okay.
Yes, now you can share your screen.
Just 1 minute. No, again, host disabled participant screen.
Is that still disabled?
Yes.
جناب یوسفی صاحب فکر کنم از دکتر مردود درست شد؟
Yes, now it's okay.
It's okay. Now you can go on. Thank you.
Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes, yes, it's visible still. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. First, I'm really thankful to you, all of you, that you have given a chance of economics faculty member to speak on the HR issues. Okay, whatever the challenges, issues which as a faculty member we are facing, just I have note down all these things and prepared this presentation. Okay, the topic which you have given me about the rethinking human resources post COVID-19. Yes, all of you know that for the development of any nation, four things are essentials. One is natural resources, second is human resources, third is capital, and fourth is the technology. And we have given a weightage to all these factors of resources. We can give, there are many countries which have given more weightage to the natural resources, but there are many countries they have given more weightage on human resources. Some of the very highly developed countries like Taiwan, like Singapore, they are giving more weightage on the capital. And there are many countries like Israel, they are giving more weightage on the technology. So each countries, according to their efficiency of resources, according to their specialization, they are giving a weightage to these factors of resources for the development of the nation. But from my point of view, if we talk about during this COVID-19, we have all realized the most important thing is this human resources. Because the reason is that ultimately human resource, this building, this infrastructure doesn't work. Only your knowledge, your skills works. And due to this reason, I am giving more weightage on the human resources. It is my personal view. Maybe some of the people have their view. There's no capital is more important, technology is more important. But from my personal point of view, human resources are most important factors for the development of the nation. Now, if we talk about the role of the HR, you know that we can write down thousands of points. This is the role of the HR to know the performance of the employee, to promote, to recruit, to for preparing the job descriptions, to hire the people, to retain the talent. But from my point of view, the most important role of the human resource officers and human resource is basically to make a meaningful connect between the organization and the employee and the society. The most important connect is one thing. Already we are connected by various ways, but the most important thing is a meaningful connect. If our organization is meaningfully connected with the employee, an employee is meaningfully connected with their stakeholders like customers, like for me, a student is my you can say stakeholder. Parents is as a faculty member, parents is the stakeholder, students is a stakeholders. So the important thing is how can we all people are meaningfully connected with our stakeholders. For example, if your organization during this crisis, if they are meaningfully connected with their employees, so definitely you can get the better results. So because there are other things also which HR is playing an important role. But during this pandemic, if you see, because I have studied 3-4 articles on this, in which I have observed that those organizations who have maintained a meaningful connect with their employees, they are successful after facing a lot of challenges and crisis. And during this pandemic, there are many challenges emerged, like because before talking about the challenges, I am first discussing about, because we all are living in a developing nations. And in developing nation, if you see the 80%, I don't know about in Afghanistan how much the economy, we can classify the economy into two major parts, formal sector and the informal sector. If we talk about the Indian economy, you can find that more than 50 to 60% it comes from the informal sector, like agriculture, completely. Right now, 59% population and 20% contribution comes from the GDP from the agriculture, which is completely in the hands of the informal sector. Second important thing is that about Afghanistan, I don't have right now. I don't have this complete idea about how much informal sector, but as a special feature or characteristic of any developing nation, 40 to 50% contribution comes from the informal sector. And the informal sector, you could not find any mechanism of the attendance, of to check the performance, because all is done through informal way. So that's why majority of the developing nations, they are not facing as much as challenge as faced by the developed nations, if we discuss, because already just before COVID-19 things were working. Same thing happened with in the developing during this COVID-19 also, because of the weightage of the informal sector is on a higher side. That's why it could not affect much. But those are formal sector, they have to now maintain a very robust attendance model. That right now, because you know that it is in our culture, it happens because if you utopian theory, you can know that nobody likes to work. Actually, everybody wants rest. Now what happens, it is very difficult, because earlier if you see, generally what happens, your performance is always measured on the basis of time. If you go to office 10 o'clock in the morning, come back 5 o'clock without doing any work, you get the salary. Just like in the common system, it happens without but now the challenge is, because now they are now coming to the offices, but how can you know the performance? This is a difficult task. That's why these are the emerging challenges. Second is revised job descriptions. This is also a major, you can say that, challenge faced by the HR. Now they have to revise their job descriptions of the people. New methods will be required to monitor the productivity of the employees working remotely. Because right now, actually, there's a tendency. Now we have to remove this tendency. We are thinking that, okay, if every day employees is coming, sitting in their chambers, it means they are giving the productive output. But now this thinking we have to change. Then the performance management system may need a complete overhaul, because you cannot measure the performance on the basis of time. You have to measure the performance on the basis of the output what they have delivered. Means the marginal productivity of the employee is now important instead of the time product. The revised policies, guidelines should incorporate the process and the resource availability. So these are the challenges which, these are, again I am saying, these are the things which actually I am preparing this presentation on the basis of my experience. Now, remote working. This would necessitate digitization and higher adoption of technology. Actually, we all are talking generally about, okay, now due to this COVID-19, remote working is, now we have to work from the home. But you know that there are a lot of challenges are there, which I am facing. For example, I'm in Delhi NCR. The employee have a 2 BHK. Generally, the middle class people they have 2 BHK houses. Now, and you have a 2 kids. It is very difficult to work from the home also. Because the reason is that, because one room is occupied by one children, second room is occupied by second children, then how can you work? And you require, so that's why we have to also think, okay, work from home, we are giving the freedom to the employee. But in the developing nations, where the majority of the people, they are either on the below poverty line, like in India, 26% live below poverty line, and the rest, only 5 to 10% people have on a high income group, but rest comes in a middle income group. That's why they are facing this challenge. Because now if you work from the home, then you have to purchase a laptop. If you work from the home, then your children also, if your children are also studying, then you also require 3 laptops in your home. And if your wife is also working, then it is also a challenging thing. Because I know in Delhi, it is very difficult to get the 3 BHK or 4 BHK houses. It is not easy for the middle class to afford these things. So we also have to see what are the challenges. As a HR perspective, we also have to think how much difficulty our employees is facing from the workplace. And second important thing is about the digitalization. I have realized, that one of my faculty member, who is basically belongs to Nigeria, what he is saying, he's in Nigeria, or even in Afghanistan, I don't know what is the call rate, but in Bhutan, in Nepal, the call rate, the data, the price of data, internet data is 10 times higher than India. I am taking a class in India, it is 10 times cheaper than Nigeria. A faculty member who belongs to the African nations, they have to pay 10 times. So we also have to think about it. It means accordingly, HR also have to basically think about this, and they have to enhance their pay, their salary or as bonus, whatever we can say that. And resurgence of economy, replacing full-time. This is also trend. It happens across the world. Now we require not full-time. We require only contract workers, part-time. This trend you can find everywhere in education, in banking sector, across all the sector. You can find this type of trend. Even in our organization, we are also facing this type of trend. But now the organization is not willing to hire the full-time employee. They are hiring the contract workers instead of full-time, because full-time you have to you have to also think about the legal aspects also, because when you are giving a full-time offer, then the other legal and mandatory requirements also there. Emphasizes on employee social safety. Now what happens, you know that when we are coming to the office, then it's okay, 10 to 4 you work, then go to home, then take relax. But now what happens, now there's no fixed time of the meeting. Even in education sector, you know that at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, we don't have any control. Now what happens, suddenly 7 o'clock you get the call from your dean, from your director, okay, no, we will conduct the meeting. So what happens, we also have to be very careful in this matter. Okay, online, everything is online, but you know that your mind is not online. You have to give your time. That's why and the second important thing is that we also have to be like, sometimes what happens, there are many employees, because you know that if we categorize, there are many people who are above 50, 55. There are many people who are not techno savvy. There are many people there who are staying in the remote areas. I can give you one example of my own cousin Mosi, and actually she's already 58. Now what happens, she's facing a lot of difficulty, how to check the online copies, how to evaluate, how to prepare the presentation. Although she's trying, but I am observing that the online things have given more stress those who are not techno savvy. So we also have to be, as I said, perspective, we have to also very very show empathy, not sympathy, empathy, because actually they have to learn, but we have to give the educate time to get the upskill their skills.
Sorry for distraction, Dr. Mirdo. I think your time's up for this round. We will talk to you later on.
Okay,
now,
okay. Thank you.
If it's not a problem, we will talk. I'm just going to ask Dr. Margi Parech
Okay.
to start their speeches from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, thank you. I'm just stopping this.
Thank you so much. Dr.
Okay.
Margi Parech, are you there?
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes. You can
So
carry
once
on.
again, a very good morning to everybody on and off the dais, people who might have joined on the Facebook Live page of this event. Dr. Khalid Siddiqia, Dean of the Economics and Management of Kahkashan-e-Sharq Institute of Higher Education. Also, Dr. Sohail Panah, who is the program manager.
Thank you.
The
you so much.
dignitaries on this panel with me, and all the people who have joined this event today. Thank you for assigning this topic of sharing my views on HRM post-COVID. And I was very happy to discover that what Dr. Mridul has just shared and what I'm going to share are quite complementary to each other. So now I will request the admin to give me the permission to share my screen. And I hope my screen is visible to you.
Is that okay? Is that okay, madam?
Can you see
Is
my
visible.
screen?
Yes,
Yes.
it is
All
visible here.
okay. Um, so during and after the pandemic, I have been fortunate to be in touch with the professionals from various industries, and they are affiliated to large and multinational organizations, which are, very well endowed with resources. I'm also in touch with um, groups of workers in unorganized sector, for example, self-employed women's association. I'm also in touch with people who are either working in or are managing people in small and medium sector enterprises. One thing that affects everybody, irrespective of which kind of organization they are working for, is that everybody experienced a great disruption in their operations. Although organizations have responded differently, there were organizations that supported the job security of their employees. Many actually, for example, somebody from Tata Motors told me recently that they actually received incentive or an increment to support their family and themselves in these unprecedented time of challenge. But examples of those kind are relatively little or small in numbers. Generally people have experienced reduced hours in office but increased hours online. Many people experience adjustment in their goals. Many people experience reduced pay despite the fact that their expenses were increasing. Many people were put on long unpaid leaves, or some people even lost their jobs. So my presentation is going to be from the perspective of HR managers. Um, and what managers are experiencing is a huge question about their goals. Um, they are not only as managers of operational aspects of HRM, but also the partners of their business, senior business managers, or what we call business partners, or as change managers or collaborators with senior management. HR managers are pressed pretty much for reevaluating their goals. And the major concern here is how can we build on our existing work in this unprecedented time, and how can we sustain our movement towards the goals. Related to that is the question of um, who will be our stakeholders required for successfully executing our goals. Because the context is changing, the support and challenges will also change. So a re-evaluation of stakeholders is required. And um, on the operational front, also again, I note that Dr. Mridul has already mentioned that the question HR managers are asking is how will our matrix, the way we measure our operations and our progress, how are our matrix going to be affected by this, new reevaluated or adjusted goal, and what kind of bottom line results to expect. Um, Corresponding to these questions, I have outlined a few challenges. Mainly speaking, I think the challenges are, as experienced by the managers, are in the zone of team working, also in the area of managing performance. These are and learning and development. Related to team working, the problem is, okay, maybe the worst is behind us and the people and organizations managed to survive this challenge, the pandemic. Many people have said that now there is going to be a recovery. For some people, recovery is L-shaped. For some people, recovery is expected to be U-shaped. For some people, it is expected to be K-shaped. So irrespective of what is going to be the shape of your recovery curve, the thing is that life will never be the same again once we go back to our organizations. And everybody is kind of tense with pent-up energy because, because what is the new normal is not fully revealed to us in its full impact. So when everybody realizes that there will be a new normal, but we do not know what that new is, people's productivity is expected to be bottoming out or expected to take a huge hit. That is what I am informed by the managers. So managers are currently bracing up for dip or decline in productivity. And they also say that the only thing that can help managers confront that challenge is, to stay connected, to increase the communication, and to do whatever that takes the managers to develop a better understanding of the team. Also, when we refer to the term team, we realize that these teams are not going to be traditionally offline, nor they are going to be completely online. Instead, they are going to be hybrid. And although there is a lot of literature about hybrid teams in theory, it is only a matter of discovery for managers actually to see how hybrid teams evolve and what are their challenges. In the area of performance management, what is happening is, these post-COVID times are exacerbating the negative expectations and experiences of employees. For example, I mean, performance management anyway is a contentious, high tension aspect of managing people. But people are going through a phase where their short and long-term motivation is increasingly challenged. The burnout, as you know, again, Dr. Mridul mentioned stress. The result of stress is burnout. And then employees are going to question whether their managers are going to evaluate their performance in a fair manner. The moment fairness of performance evaluations comes into picture, we think of biases. And not that even under the old normal, performance management was clouded by possibility of bias. The old demons are actually rising to a new level of strength, especially the recency bias, where manager is more likely to remember the employee's shortcomings or weaknesses because of pandemic. But because that is recent, manager is likely to perhaps forget how he struggled or how well he performed in the pre-COVID time and remember how the performance dipped in the post-COVID time. So recency bias or proximity bias, whoever is more readily observable to the manager is likely to rate that person better over somebody who is doing background work or somebody whose work is not very highly visible. Also, the manager is likely to project his or her own views and beliefs onto the employees, which is known as projection, the error of perception, and of course, the gender bias. So again, what managers tell me is that the performance management or performance evaluation has to now include ever more rigorous reviews, so that the managers and the organization can ensure that employees feel valued as they move forward. The next HR function that is getting highlighted is learning and development post-COVID, where benefits are all known. Learning and development, which is expected to be largely online, will offer decreased cost, increased accessibility, increased instruction quality, and increased instructor availability. Like, I'm sitting in India today and fortunate enough to participate in a webinar which is taking place, which is hosted in Afghanistan. So those are the benefits, but the limitations are, how if learning and development happened in the physical environment, the instructor would be in charge of creating a learning experience using face-to-face rich interaction. But it is increasingly being challenged in the online learning and development environment. Next challenge is how to ensure that your learners who are connected through computers are engaged in the process of learning. Also, how to ensure that people learn not only from the instructor and resources, but also learn from each other. In the physical face-to-face context, it is very easy to encourage, foster, and facilitate discussion. But in the online platform, it is very difficult. Anyone who has been teaching online past few months would have realized that. And the final challenge is how to ensure that whatever has been learned online, which is essentially by sitting at the desk, how to ensure that that learning is transferred to one's job. So those are the issues with which managers are getting, occupying themselves. And finally, the gender balance is the challenge that is coming to the fore like never before. Uh, Although women leaders are supposed to be strong in the areas of problem solving with empathy or leading from a position of humility and courage, it is not really clear whether women are being recognized as leader in the leadership positions. I have given this hyperlink to the DDI's Outlook 2020. Please feel free to refer to it if you are interested. And finally,
Dr. Preet, we really don't want you to get tired. Just we will let the time to Dr. Tashinder. We will come to you later on, and we will discuss about the issues for the guests as well. Thank you so much. Dr. Tashinder, now I think it's your turn to start your wise speech for the guests, and we are just waiting to you.
I would request you to give the screen sharing rights.
Okay. Is that okay now?
Yeah, perfectly fine. Am I audible?
Yep. We will see you. We can hear you better.
All right. Good morning to each one of you. First of all, I would like to thank the team of Kahkashan-e-Sharq Institute of Higher Education, Faculty of Economics, for giving the opportunity to be the part of webinar. So I would like to thank each member of the organization. Moving ahead, I feel like a coin has two sides. Likewise, a pandemic also has two sides. Positive is I got a chance to talk with you, to interact with you virtually, and the challenge which pandemic has caused, I will be briefly discussing in the context of human resource, and I will be taking care in terms of the technology and HR trade-off a COVID scenario. That HR, the umbrella term which is used to describe the management and the development of employees in an organization. So where people work, what kind of work they do, it is all about managing the HR. And it is the department which is responsible for managing the all matters related to employees. So HR is resourceful, other inputs would automatically be resourceful. As Dr. Mridul highlighted that HR is the key part. If HR is resourceful, then automatically the other factors, capital, labor, would also be resourceful. Now, evolution of human resource management is a relative term which is considered for human resource management. HRM evolves from HR, it is human resource. So once HRM practices are done, those practices actually create, manage, cultivate the employer-employee relationship. It is considered as the topmost priority, whether it is pre-COVID or post-COVID. And the things have turned post-COVID. From core HR, I am a faculty in economics, but trying to link and initiate from the concepts of HR relating with the concept of economics. So the HRM is the...
Dr. Tashinder, excuse me, madam. I think the other guests are just telling us that your voice is not too clear. I'm really not sure. Is there a technical problem with your laptop, or maybe there is another problem? We cannot hear you well here.
Okay, just give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah, just give me a second. Where people work, what type of work they do. It's all about. Am I audible?
Sounds
Am I
great.
audible?
We will hear you better now, you know?
All right, all right. Again, a technology constraint. All right, so I will be discussing the functions of HR. So what functions? Am I audible now?
Yes, you are. You are.
All right, all right. Okay. So the first function of HR is recruiting and onboarding. It's like finding right people is a difficult task, which may involve process, months, and the cost. So hiring too many, too few would affect the performance of the business. The next function of business or HR is the performance management system. The performance management system is the biggest part of HR. Undoubtedly, there exist gaps, but the main function of HR is to remove those gaps. HR helps to increase productivity, efficiency, and reducing the employee turnover. The third important function of HR is to build and maintain company culture. The positive business culture automatically brings positivity and the positive return to a business, and vice versa. The next function which I have tried to highlight is the business communication. Every business requires effective communication. The good communication avoids misunderstanding, increase the employee engagement, and moves ahead with the better client relationships. So human capital is very important in a country's growth. A better investment in capital is there, it is going to yield a better return. Likewise, a person who is educated earns better than the uneducated person. But this pandemic has affected each and everybody's life in one way or the another. Now I will be taking into consideration the technology and HR trade-off, that how this trade-off took place. So I will be taking into consideration that how this trade-off exists in practice. The first is the fast track tags. So pandemic has created a very strong incentive to automate the work of the humans. This is a study which has been done in US that machines have made the jobs obsolete, which is also supported by the pandemic. In US, the tool booths have been closed in order to protect the health of the employees and the drivers or for the toll collectors. But this has actually brought the trade-off in practice, that technology has trade off the human resource, and without HR we cannot proceed to the success. The next trade-off in practice is the deployment of robots for various purposes, such as to clean floors, maybe at airports, taking people's temperature, maybe hospitals and universities, they have deployed the robots and have replaced the human resource with the technology. Somewhere they were interested to do it, or COVID brought that direction to change it. So that's also the matter of concern. The third is closure of call centers and shifting to chatbots. Now, artificial intelligence stimulates a conversation with the user in natural language through message app, maybe through website, mobile application. So the machines and the artificial intelligence has also replaced the jobs faster, and COVID has given that scenario. So there arises a paradigm shift from HR to the technology. So there arises a technology trade off with HR. Now let's look into that, how COVID-19 has existed and what scenario of human capital is there. As it has been discussed by Dr. Mridul and Dr. Parekh, that people shifted to online work environments. So every time that work environment may not be that congenial, may not be that healthy to work, everyone could not be that tech savvy, but people had to do it. Then another scenario was the implementation of work from home. People were forced to do work from home because they didn't have any other option to move ahead. Focus on building better employee-manager relations. Employees never earlier paid better attention or implementation to their managers, but now they expect visibility from their leaders. So more support, more empathy. Now this has brought actual challenge for the managers, leaders, as well as for the employees. The another effect or the scenario is on the increased global unemployment. A very important point which is of worrisome is that global unemployment has increased to 147 million people, because the global consumption fell down to $3.8 trillion, and automatically if consumption fell, and it will bring in unemployment to the people in the economy. And pandemic also directed the same path for the unemployment. Affected service companies. So pandemic affected the service companies because there was no face-to-face interaction, and then it also increased the unemployment scenario. So tourism, the service sectors, tourism, hospitality, food, the entertainment business, they encountered these serious problems. And last but not the least, what I have observed is that there is a downfall in the recruitment of new staff, because the companies, the organizations are unable to pay the already existing employees. So they are not recruiting the new staff, which is also a worrisome point. Moving ahead with the company's attitude towards employees. So that particular situation of COVID has brought the company's attitudes under three scenarios: dismissal of employees because of closure, retaining the employees with unpaid leave, and last but not the least, that retain the employees with their changed salary packages, or we may call it as the pay proportionate is there, by making salary cuts, which is not advisable and which is not desirable as well. Now, this situation is front of you. Employees versus organization goals. Organization always tries to maximize the profits, whereas employees, they prefer to move ahead with the sales maximization. So here arises the effective role of human resource. Let's see what future of HR is there in face of COVID. The sudden shift in work culture is there, which has affected the mental health and well-being of the employees, as already shared by Dr. Mridul, just highlighting the same. People are working remotely. They are managing their work from the remote locations. They are not commuting from one place to the another to the offices. And there arises uncertainty in their jobs. Daily, the things are haunting in their mind, that whether their job is secure or not, whether they are certain about their job or not. And last but not the least, the requirement of technical training is required. It is mandate. Though I don't belong to HR field, but I tried to identify few of these strategies which can be identified, which can be implemented for a better or a strong human resource during the post-COVID-19. So 5 R's are there, starting from rethink, replan, reimagine, recruit talent, and revised HR strategy. Rethink means a completely new thought process has to be devised. Maybe from employees' point of view, the organizational philosophy point of view, it has to be changed as per the current trends because things have turned a lot. Ways of working needs to be updated. Technological enable situations to be given. Second is replanning. Type of planning needs a change, which involves the emphasis to be given to the contingency planning or successive planning needs to be done. Next is reimagining. Imagine the unimaginable. Design thinking has to be improvised. Now, this has to be the modern mantra. The way we perceive, the outlook has to be redesigned. Moving ahead with the reimagining, what I personally feel is to recruit the talent. Here arises the important perspective that talent acquisition would serve that purpose. So talent management has to be stressed. Dexterous manpower has to be recruited. Existing workforce has to be made agile so that it can adapt at the earliest. And they do not face the problem of dismissals. They do not face the problems of pay proportionate because of one or the other reason. And last but not the least, what I would advise or the strategy could be the revised HR strategy is to be incorporated. Now, HR strategies are required to be made as per the contemporary trends, and it is recommended to have flexible places like flexible strategies because one size doesn't fit for all. So the HR practices should be in terms of exploring, understanding, accepting, and designing the things accordingly. So from my perspective, there should be HR should work on 5 R's, starting from rethink, replan, reimagine, recruiting talent, and revising the HR strategy. So that's all from my side.
Thank you so much. Your speech was as wise, as nice, which I couldn't stop myself to take notes, And thank you so much for this round. We will let you time to the other round as well. And now I think we have another round as well. His turn is there. I think Dr. Muhammad Asif Shah is from Kabul, Afghanistan. How are you, doctor?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want you to continue the webinar.
Dr. Panna, I get a message that my video has been stopped by the.
Okay. I will check and we will solve it. Video in stop.
Thank you.
Okay. We will take a minute, then we will solve the problem.
Okay. Thank you.
And now, Dr. Muhammad Asif Shah, and we will let you the time to start, and we will listen to your wise speech as well.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. First of all, at the outset, I will like to thank Kahkashan-e-Sharq Institute for giving us this opportunity, Dr. Khalid Siddiqian, and all the professors I have been working with, like Dr. TUSHINDER PREET is there, and Dr. Tawheed Nabi is there, and Professor Mridul Dawal, Professor Magri. So my presentation will be about how the HR need to need to change during this pandemic. What are the different needs of skills which they need to update, and how they need to update it so as to save the organization. So I'll be talking about the topics like remote working, rapid digital transformation, and the concept of gig work, which have been how you can recycle your employees, because it is not an evolution, it is a revolution nowadays, as we have seen the financial crisis of 2007. So how the managers at that time, the financial managers, saved their organization, and right now it is the role of we can say these human resource, we can say people who are related with that, how they can say, because you have to be competitive you have to gain a competitive advantage to save your organization from, we can say, getting liquidated. And we have a lot of famous companies, like we have FANG Group, Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and we have Google, from which we can see how they have adopted the new skills, new technologies, so that it will become a learning curve for all of us. As we know, COVID-19, this pandemic, it happened an overnight. It was an overnight. Nobody was expecting this is going to happen. People have been at different places, so individuals, cities, economies, countries, they all experienced a lockdown of, we can say, an unknown, which was not going to be known. So the managers, especially the human resource managers, they had to make decisions in a very short period of time. They have to decide about who is going to stay at the work, who is going to go home. Like it had been with us also. We have been on semester, because we have different organizations which I'm going to talk, and we can't paint all of them with the same brush. Like, for example, we are working in an educational institute, and people are working in hospitals, people were working in some other NGOs in Afghanistan. We have seen foreign people. So we have been also in India, and we couldn't come back. Then how we manage the work? So you have to manage it, who is going to be at your office, who is going to be at home, and how you can make the people to move in this digital place. What are the different priorities which we are going to give to the employees? As we have Ernst and Young, a very famous, so we can say, they have evaluated nearly, we can say, 2,000 organizations in the world and their CEOs. And it was just a year back in 2019, and they believed that all of the CEOs, they believed that yes, we can say the companies, they need to be prepared for an adverse risk which can happen at any time. And later on, after a few months only, the COVID-19 pandemic, it started, and everything was found true. And even the famous, we can say, newspaper, The Economist, they also had, we can say, study where they found that these CFOs, which I already discussed, the chief financial officers, which saved the organizations in the 2007 financial crisis. And right now they give the role for chief human resource officers, that they can either save a company or they can bury a company, because it's a must keep employees healthy. As it was discussed that there is a huge case of stress, we have to maintain their morale, we have to oversee the vast remote working experience which we had never seen, we have to retrench our organizations, we have to think about how to lay off the workers, because it can be a cost minimization program at the short term, but in the long run we can have huge losses. The organizations who are going to work in the long run, for example, educational institutions, we have seen universities in India who are just paying 50% of the salaries to their employees. But this will not remain forever. So how they are going to manage them, their employees after, as Dr. Margi was telling, that the Tata Motors, they gave increments to their employees. So how we can manage? So it is already known that in such novel or uncertain contexts, how these HR people, how they manage the things. So we have seen, even though it was the report of World Health Organization 2020, that there is this tremendous novelty and uncertainty. It created a huge mental health issues in the employees, and more than the 70% of the employees, they are facing such issues. So during this global stress and uncertainty, how these organizations, they will select the, we can say, few things which I will discuss here. One is that I can say crucial competencies, like for example, tolerance for ambiguity, and how they are going to be resilient, and how the curiosity of all employees are working multiculturally, because we have seen in Afghanistan, people from different countries are working. So employees who are even working virtually, we have vendors, you see, because I already told you, we have different organizations. Maybe we're from the educational background, educational institute, we're working in educational institutions, but there are some institutions, there are some organizations where you can't even go for online. For example, I'm giving an example of hospitals where the doctors, they are checking their patients. So we are able to see that you can't go for a, we can say, a video conference with a patient. You can't check his, we can say, blood pressure through video conference. You can't assess his, we can say, these medical data and medical assessments. You can't do them through online perspectives. but it is a role that how they can survive in this pandemic, how they can. Even we have seen that patients who are not having COVID-19 symptoms, they are also not coming to hospitals for other normal checkups. So then how you can go with this? So there is a need of first one, the very important point for HR officers is that you have to support your employees. You have to support the people who are working in your organization. So it is, we can say we are experiencing a collective state of stress, a global stress, the whole global economy, the employees who are working right now, they're, we can say they are not ready to come out of their comfort zones to work again in different countries, and the people from different cultures. So how you can, we can say mentally support them. And the second part is that we have to give the proper trainings that which will help our colleagues or the employees who are working in our organization to become mindful of situations which they are rushing because of their fast judgments, which has reduced the bandwidth state. So it could also teach them that how they are going to manage this, we can say the current issues, because we have a lot of, we can say negative aspects of this COVID-19. So with a growing interest in, we can say, this self-direct learning, which I said that we have a learning curve, as Dr. Margi was telling that how the curves are, we are able to see different curves for different organizations, how they are managing with this COVID-19. So the companies, they should be actively, especially the HR people, they should be actively harness the time to invest the skill development of employees, because it is right now the time so that the people, you see, for example, as Dr. I think Mridul said that we have an employee from one African country where the internet, we have issues, or we have the people who are not tech savvy, who are not able to do this. Even in Afghanistan also, for example, educational institutions. In the last year, our organization was not working on Canvas. It was not working on Canvas because you have to pay thousands of dollars for using the Canvas. But it was COVID-19. How fast you stepped into Canvas? Because we have nearly 15 of our professors from Pakistan, and we have nearly 7 or 8 professors from India. Then they could not come back to Afghanistan. We had the issues of travel, we have the issues of visa, and we had the issues of work permit. Then how you manage those teachers? They can. So we went then online on the Canvas. So we have to understand, means that there are a few things. You have to reflect the things. You have to reflect, means you have to see the things. You have to create the time to reflect what next is going to happen and how we are working for that, what we have learned from our past mistakes, and what will be the quick response, because it is all of a sudden which happened. So you have to be recommit, means you have to reinforce your commitment that what is going to be happen, that all these physical issues we are having, or we are having financial issues, we are having physiological issues, we are having psychological issues with our most of our employees, then how we can re-engage them, as I was talking about, that how you can redeploy your workforce management, how you can go with the people whom need to be work from online, who need to be work from offline, what are the different skills you need to give again to these people. So you have to rethink again, you have to reconfigure your work, you have to we can say think about all these things, and then you have to reboot. Otherwise, what is going to happen, as we can say, the McKinsey Global Institute, they had a recent study where they found that more than 375 million people, for the workers, we can say the nearly 15% of the global workforce who are working there, they are not able to switch to this new skills. And then when your employees are not able to switch or acquire new skills, and you are not working for that, then what is going to impact it? Because you have to rapidly identify the skills of your recovery for your business institute. You have to build the skills for your employees. You have to identify your business model, as I was talking about. You have to identify, for example, Canvas is very, we can say, costly software. You have to pay thousands of dollars. But we have Google Meet. We have WhatsApp. We have like this Zoom right now. We were not knowing each other earlier, but it's just a link connected all of us through different parts of the world, where you need not to pay the money and which are easy for everyone to have access. So means that you have to tailor as per the needs, because I already told you, this is a need of adaptation. It is not we can say an evolution. It is we can say a revolution. So you have to start very fast. You have to test rapidly, and you have to iterate. Then, because you see what happens here, an organization where we have more than 10,000 of employees, or 15,000 employees, or 20,000 employees, what we can do, we can go for the segregation. and we can work for like a small company where we can improvise their skills easily. For example, each and every department will take care of their own department, their employees. They can give them skills, they can check their skills, and they can give them time needed techniques, timely needed techniques. For example, I was when most of our students had issues with the canvas, so they need to contact IT department or IT department, and it was a failure in the first month. Then what we did, every teacher was given a training for canvas, and then every teacher was solving their own problems. So we have to go for protecting our learning budgets also, because for example, as I was telling, that maybe for short time, for example, you're going for a cost minimization, but in a long term it is going to impact you very economically, because you can't, there is there are two important concepts in economics. As Professor Midul also said, that we are not from HR perspective, so we will be mixing more economics here. So when we talk about sales maximization, and one is profit maximization. So are you thinking about sales maximization or profit maximization? Because for a short-term perspective, maybe you are able to make profits, you are able to reduce the salaries of your employees. But how it is going to impact you in the long run. So you have to expand the ability of, we can say, the full digital environment, the environment you were not maybe working in there. You may not be having an experience in working there. So you have to gain the skills. You have to make your employees to gain those skills and make them to work on that platform. And you have to make them redesign you, because there are people who have never used, we can say, these ways. For example, I was teaching statistics, and I was teaching statistics, QMDM, and I was teaching research methodology, where you can't just go with like this audio like right now we are. So you have to use pads, you have to teach them. You see, teaching statistics in an offline class and teaching the statistics in an online class through Zoom, it is very tough. Students used to have huge, we can see, issues. They used to complain. There was huge complaints. But what are the different skills you can go with? How you can redesign your, we can say, platform, how you can go for the innovation, because you have to strengthen all these skills to ensure the effective collaboration of employees, of management, and for the people, we can say, from the perspective of the customers. So you have to build adaptability, you have to be resilient, so as to, as Dr. Tushinder ma'am was saying, that one is pre-COVID and one is post-COVID. So all the COVID-19, post-COVID-19 shocks, aftershocks, which are going to impact you, how you are planning earlier for such things. So this was the part of the first part, because the time was given only 10 minutes nearly. So after, in the next part of my lecture, I will try to cover the rest.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mahmoud Asif Shah. You know, your speech as was interesting to me, that I am the program manager of this webinar. I'm just taking notes and recording your voices. Thank you so much. It was great, you know. And now I would like to ask Dr. Tawheed Nabi to come and join us. I think his camera is off, and now I'm just waiting to Dr. Tawheed Nabi to join the program. Hello, Dr. Tawheed Nabi.
Thank you so much, and I hope I'm audible and visible as well.
Right.
Okay, so
face.
first and foremost thing is that I'm highly thankful to the Kahkashan-e-Sharq, which is an university in Afghanistan, and I'm highly thankful to you for giving me the opportunity to speak on the topic, which I'm not even expert, but still I will try my best to speak on the issues of leadership during crisis. And on the onset, I will, say thanks, and I will just, Madam and Dr. Mridul, Dr. Mergipark, and Dr. Tushinder, Professor Tushinder, and my brother, Dr. Asif, who has been a colleague to me and a brother to me. And I'm welcoming you all. And I will be now talking about, without taking much of your time, I will be now talking about the leadership during crisis. So I have made a small PPT. So can I share that?
Yes, that's clear.
Yeah, so I will be now sharing it. Please give me the rights. Please give me the rights to share the PPT. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
Seconds, yes. You have it, I think, good now.
Okay. So very good afternoon to all of you. So I'll be now talking about the leadership in crisis. As you all know that the crisis, how important the role of a leader is at the time of crisis. And I will be just giving a basic, basic understanding about what leadership is all about. And we all know that leadership is the capacity and will to rally men and women to a common purpose. So we have a common purpose, we have a set of goals, we have a purpose through which a leader is carrying forward the different power with them, be it men, be it the woman, and the character which inspires the confidence. So this is very important. So we need to understand that the leader should have the inbuilt character, the leader should have the character which is going to inspire the confidence, which is going to inspire other people. So the major purpose, the major aim of the leadership is to bring more and more confidence. It's also the ability to influence, to motivate, and enable one's team to contribute to the effective and success of an organization. In order to have the better success, in order to have the success in an organization, so the leader should influence others. The leader should have the knack, he should have the quality, he or she should have the quality to motivate the people and contribute in a team spirit. And we can say the skill, the leaders should have the skill of influencing people to work enthusiastically towards the goal identified as being common good. So the goal should be clear. Okay, so the leaders should work on a specific goal with his or her team, so they can put forward the legacy, they can put forward the complete, the motto, whatever the motto of an organization. Necessarily about power, leadership is not only about power, because we have already seen that, those ineffective leaders given to them. So leadership is not only about power, instead it's about the authority. So leaders should have the inbuilt authority, how they are going to take, the leadership qualities, how they are going to manage the team, how they are going to effectively manage the team with the common goals and with the common objectives. Like I will just, we can look into the Quranic examples of leadership. For example, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, you can see Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar bin Khattab. So we have seen the leadership from quite beginning. If you just go to the Biblic examples, you have Jesus, you have Moses. So leadership is something which influences the others. That means the followers to subscribe to. There's a proper vision. And where there is no vision, they are going to perish. So the leaders should have a complete vision with them. Okay, if they don't have the vision, that's the reason that most of the leaders are perishing. So a leader must have the values, beliefs, correct attitude, and build a relationship. So they should have a knack, they should have a complete qualities in them that they can build the relationship among the people, with the people. Now, what should be the core competence of the leadership? Now, we'll be talking about the core competence. Like, see, we are looking that so-called leaders lack these basic competencies. Okay. When the leaders lack these basic competencies, almost what is happening, all the followers, all the people who are following the particular leader are in the wrong track, because it's the leader who is actually, going to bring the change with his or her leadership capabilities or abilities. So it's arguable, like it's a debatable all across the HR world. It's debatable whether the leaders are born or they are made. No, some are saying leaders are born. Some are saying leaders can be made. So this is an arguable statement. This is a debatable thing. Modern approach are saying that leaders can be made. So we can make the leaders. We can develop them. The leaders can be developed through the proper training, through the proper skills, through the proper enthusiasm, through the proper equipments. So developing a leader means equipping them with the leadership competencies. That's why we are here. We are looking at what kind of leadership competencies should be there, especially I will be talking about the crisis, which we have recently seen in COVID-19 pandemic. You can just look across the world and how different leaders of different countries have managed to come out of this crisis. For example, we have the example of New Zealand. We have the example of bad leadership, I think, in the UK, how the leaders were unable to have, they have given up in the time of, crisis, in the time of COVID-19 pandemic, or like you can take the recent example of Donald Trump. Okay, so the leaders should have the core competencies. They should have the leadership competencies in them, and we can develop. So I'm, very much of this opinion that we should have a common curriculum which is going to completely make our leaders we should have a proper training to develop more and more leaders in the societies, be it Afghanistan, be it India, be it Pakistan, be it US, be it any part of the world. So we should have the time to adopt the change, adopt the leadership skills. We should have the leadership, we should build the leadership competencies among the people. And especially this is the role of the higher education institutions nowadays. Like, we are more responsible for that. We have to create more and more leaders. We have to develop. So because gone are the days when we were saying that leaders are born. Now the modern theories are, saying that leaders can be developed, leaders can be made. We can make these leaders by inculcating some competencies among them. For example, they should have the commitments, they should have the charismatic approach, they should be initiative, they should have the good character, they should have the generosity, they should have a courage. We have to look into these perspectives, into these competencies, and we have to build these competencies to the leaders so that we can have better leadership in future. Because see, the leadership crisis is one of the major flaw in any of the nation. You can just go through the history and you can just see how different leaders have taken the wrong decisions and how those wrong decisions have landed into a disaster. Okay, so the commitment, when we are talking, so the leaders should be committed, they should be charismatic, they should have the capability, or they should have an approach of initiation. They should initiate the task, they should initiate the work. Then they should have a character, because a character is something which which is very important feature for a leader. Because when the leader is character is sound, then the followers are also going to be more impressed, and the followers are also going to be more fans for that particular leader. Then generosity, he should be generous. The courage, like you have the example of which we call the Lion of Desert, Omar. So he had a courage to lead to lead. Then, because as we have less time, so I will be now looking into what is happening in the crisis, what actually crisis is. Now, I have deliberately made this, otherwise we all know that what crises are. We have deliberately chosen because there is a Chinese proverb which says that crisis with two words, danger or opportunity. So crises are either bringing the danger, or it's creating an opportunity. Opportunity of what? Now the danger is automatically, it's quite understood that danger is like, we can have the fear of losing the jobs, we can have the fear of losing, like what has happened in the recent pandemic. But there's an opportunity also. Opportunity of okay. So a crisis that is not correlatedly managed and escalated or deteriorated to disaster catastrophe. So we can see that the crises are something which can bring the danger or can bring the opportunities, and we have to look the opportunities out of these crises. So I will be now like we have to be optimistic in terms of looking the better opportunities, or in terms of looking the better opportunities out of these crises which can emerge. This crisis can be a economic slowdown, it can be a pandemic, it can be a disaster, it can be anything. So crisis is a broad term. Okay, now we have to look into the opportunities. And now if you are looking into the leadership in crisis, now see, during the crisis, what is happening, that there are emotions, the feelings, the perception and experience that people have in the crisis. We have to work majorly, because we have seen, as all of us are right now here, the academicians who are still in the phase of COVID-19 pandemic. I myself working from home. You are also, some other faculties are also, some other staff are also working from home. So we have seen how much emotional setback, how much feelings, perceptions, experience we have witnessed. And we have seen that this is the quality of a leader to balance the followers, to balance the staff, to balance the team of getting frustrated, to balance them out of their what kind of mental disorders they have, what kind of pressures they have, what kind of mental pressure they have. So we have to think, the leader has to think out of box, because you can only be a better leader, as other speakers were also discussing about the human resource, the role of human resource. But the main purpose of human resource should be that we have to build the leaders who will be looking, or who will be thinking always out of the box here in context of for a positive change, for achieving an objective which is being set for an organization, or which is being set for an particular institution, be it an academic institution, be it a corporate, or be it a public sector, or be it a leader who is ruling the country or who is leading the nation. Okay, the emotional support, the feelings has to be balanced, has to be managed, because the crises are putting leaders and their followers under pressure. We all know that. We have recently seen how much pressure has been escalating out from this pandemic. And the crisis creates panic, particularly in followers. So if the leader is strong, I personally believe if the leader is strong, all the followers are also going to be strong, because they have a complete faith and complete hold on their respective leaders. But how to build that, that's what I said. He should be charismatic. He should have a courage. He should have, knack. He should be, honest. His character should be good. So this is something like, one is to lead something, one is to lead a team, but another is to impress a team. So a leader should be a role model for all the followers. Okay. Now, if you just look into what leaders should do at the time of crisis, what we have to do at the time of crisis, like, just a minute. See, at the time of crisis, the leaders should quickly grasp of what is happening. They should first and foremost thing is that they should understand that what is happening around us. They should have a clear understanding of the problem. They should have a clear understanding of the happenings outside. They should gather the resources needed for reaction. The resources can be financial, it can be logistics, it can be skill, it can be talent, it can be an action plan, or it can be a blueprint. And it should be in such a way that the reactions has to be recorded. They need to conquer fear and not panic signs of fear. Indecision, paralysis, or cowardice can quickly permeate to the followers and can cause havoc. So they need not to panic. Like we have recently seen in the COVID-19 pandemic, how you have the best example of New Zealand, how that lady had, balanced, or how she has, not panicked, and she has controlled the situation in a better way. You have the different examples. The way a leader behaves in a crisis is hugely influential and theoretical and critical. And it's therefore very critical. It's hugely influential. It's critical. So the behavior of the leader should be hugely influential. So it should influence the people. Okay. So initial shock and surprise must quickly be replaced by quick thinking. So we should have the decision-making power. One of the important features, as in economics, we are always teaching the decision-makings. So the leaders should have a quality of a decision-making. How these decisions can be made in a short span of time, because we have the spontaneous decision-making. That's what is the best quality of a leader, that how he or she should react with the problem in a minimum possible time. Okay, so in the moment of crisis, reactions set the leaders apart from the followers. Like we have to build a, connect between the leader and the followers. So that disconnect is creating a problem for the followers, and that can lead to the leadership crisis. Okay, and if you just look around the globe, we have the leadership crisis. Almost every nation is facing some of the issues of leadership crisis where we are not able to produce the better leaders for whom we can rely on, or we can follow them wholeheartedly. Okay, then just and one thing which is important is the synergies and how to create a strong teams. The synergetic effect should be the quality of a leader. Silence in the crisis is not golden. It can be very destructive. We cannot skip the situation. We cannot run away from the situation. We cannot run away from the crisis. We have to be very active. We have to create the teams. We have to create the strong teams. We have to create the synergies. The leaders need to communicate quickly. So the communication is the key. There should be a complete communication. It should not be a monotonous communication. It should be a two-way communication. Leaders should listen their followers, because actually what is happening in the ground that can be depicted by the follower, that can be interpreted by the follower only, by the team. Follower here means the team. It's their thoughts and the nature of the crisis. They should communicate. The leaders need to communicate the people, need to communicate with the team, and understand what is the severity of the problem, what is the nature of the crisis. You can take the initial mitigating measures and short-term tactics and strategies to tackle the crisis while accessing your options and strategies. We can go for the tactics, we can have the strategies to tackle the crisis, how to tackle the crisis, what kind of strategies can be used. We have to assess the situation. And very important thing among the leadership, which I think all of us do understand, is that the leader should be a far-sighted person who should have a long vision, who should have a decision-making capacity, and who should have the capacity of forecasting. Leaders should be innovative. As I said in the beginning only, they should think out of the box. The leaders has to think out of the box. That's what makes them the leader. Otherwise, there is no difference between a normal person and a leader. Create new ways and methods of doing things. As maybe some of the students might be watching this, so I have made it very basic so that they can understand the complete qualities of a leader and how the leader should behave in the time of the crisis. Don't hang around people that you have no benefit from. Eagles fly with eagles. So we have to balance the effects. We have to balance the teams. Okay, especially when I'm talking of the crisis, a leader sees an opportunity in the crisis. That's what is important. An opportunity has to be looked, opportunity has to be grabbed out from the crisis and not danger. And we have to find out the opportunities in crisis, a crisis present, and take advantage of the opportunities. Like, for example, many countries have seen the economic opportunities out of this COVID-19 pandemic by creating the vaccination, by selling it at a very high cost, and so that their economic structures or economic macroeconomic variables can be improved. So we have to create the synergies and create the strong teams and look the opportunities and grab the opportunities out of this crisis. Then, how to handle the crisis through emotional intelligence. Now, there is a concept which is emotional intelligence. This is very important. Like, the leaders should emotionally connect with the followers, should emotionally connect with the team. Access the morale of your team and ensure that is right level or raise it to the desired level. If the morale is down, it should be the quality of a leader to bring the morale up, to have the multiplier effect for the morale. Show your character as leader, love, empathy, considerate, instill pride and discipline. These all should be, leaders should show empathy. They should be loving in nature. They should be disciplined as well. And leaders need to be confident and exhibit belief in the task at hand and ultimately the vision you stand for. And they need to be very confident, and they need to, have a belief on the task which ultimately the vision is, or the goal of an organization or in a country is. So we should not be diverted. The leaders. So it does not mean that if the leaders are more empathetic, if they are loving, if they are caring, if they have emotional connect with the team, that does not mean we are going to forget our goal, our mission of an organization, but we have to work under the principle of that. Put in emergency plans, put the contingency plans. Leaders has to put the contingency plans, which we have recently seen in the COVID-19 pandemic, that most of the countries were not ready for this disaster, for this crisis. So we should have the potential disaster scenarios. We should have the clear aims and objectives, immediate. That should be immediate. We should outline the plan, how to make a contingency plan, how to allocate the responsibilities, how to allocate the task, how the different set of contingency teams can be made, which can work on the ground level, top level support for decision makers, how the support from the top management for the decision makers can be there. So funds, resources, the capital should be there. It should be enough. Communicate with staff and public where necessary. We have to communicate with the staff and we have to communicate with the people wherever we feel it's necessary, wherever the leaders feel it's necessary. Ensure as leader you have the necessary backup, that is succession plan, so that in your absence the organization continues to move forward. So you should have a plan, you should have a forward plan also. If you are not there, if you're not leading the team, but in your organization, there is a complete plan, there is a complete, contingency, which in, future they are going to follow. And let me conclude my short speech with the key message to be communicated. Show that you cared and apologize if it's a fault. Leaders has to be submissive. The arrogance of the leader, I don't want to say it in public, but the arrogance of the leader, recently we have seen how different, arrogant leaders have been backfired by the people. Demonstrate that you have the situation under control. The situation should be under control, under the grip of a leader. Take effective and decisive action. The leader should have the quality of actions also. It should take the decisive actions. Be honest and deal with mistakes openly and fairly. Leaders has to be honest, and they have to deal with the mistakes openly. They should wholeheartedly accept, yes, this is the fault, this is the mistake. They should not be rigid, they should not be stubborn. Demonstrate you are doing your best, and you have to show, you have to demonstrate, you have to give your best and show you are working with the appropriate authorities and stakeholders to normalize the situation, especially it relates to safety, security, or livelihood. And you should build a team in such a way that you should be, working with an appropriate authorities. So that is the qualities which a leader should have, and how we have to manage the crisis, how we have to manage the leadership, how leaders have to manage the, at the time of crisis, how the leaders have, what is the important role of the leaders at the time of the crisis. For example, winners win for themselves, leaders make others win. This is a very important, I think the key takeaway of this, my talk should be leaders make others win. So they should be happy. And if their team is growing, if their followers are growing, they should be happy in that. I think that's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your rare and your wise experiences and knowledge, Dr. Tawheed Nabi. As you described who is the leader and how can be a leader, now I found myself, which I was a leader, and I really forgot about this issue. Thank you so much. Now I know that how to treat with the other people when they are sitting in classes, and they are as the students when they're coming in classes. I know how to treat the leaders well. Thank you so much, Doctor. It was a great speech.
Thank you.
Now, Dr. Merdul, Dr. Murgi, and Dr. Mohammad Asif Shah, try to conclude your speeches only for 3 to 4 minutes because we faced with lack of time. And we will start with Dr. Merdul once more. It's because I told you that we will have a second trip or round trip. Now it's your turn to talk only for 3 to 4 minutes, Dr. Merdul Dalwal. And thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It is really a very nice experience, which the thing which I want to share with you that we have to show empathy instead of sympathy. First thing is that towards our employee. The second important thing which is we also have to see how this middle class people and the low income group, because the reason is that because they are also facing some challenges. One challenge is which is created by the COVID-19, and the second challenge is which is in front, because due to this COVID-19, majority of the offices, like whether it is in the private sector and government sectors, they have stopped the increments also. That's why to purchase the laptops, to purchase the equipments, it is very it is another financial burden. There are many private sectors, they have basically given a contract instead of full-time opportunities. So we have to be very empathy to show the empathy towards the employee. And second important thing is that I have already mentioned, for example, like in informal sector, okay, you could not find any difficulty they are facing, but the problem is especially lies in the formal sector. So that's why we have to basically redesign the HR policies to tackle these challenges. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Merdul. Now we will ask Dr. Margi Parikh to continue their speeches only for 3 to 4 minutes. And we're waiting to you, Doctor. I think your sound is not too clear. I think you turned off the voice.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I hope I'm audible now. In conclusion, I would say that the issues that HR managers across the organizations are grappling with, whether they are large, multinational, profitable, and employee-oriented organizations, or they are small and not so profitable organizations, the concerns across the board are about, post-COVID, about the new HRM practices, highlight very strongly on the team working, how the HR managers will maintain effective team working among the hybrid teams who partly work face-to-face and partly work online. Second is how to reevaluate or sometimes even completely overhaul the process of performance management post-COVID, because the implication is on measuring. And the third one is balancing the learning and development requirement, ensuring that employees are engaged and we leverage the online platform of learning so that the learning is transferred on to the work. On the fringe, we have issues like helping employees manage their stress or helping them develop their career, and helping the employees prepare themselves for the new normal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Margi Parikh.
Thank
It was a great speech. We people who are sitting here, we enjoyed a lot from your speeches. Thank you so much. And now we will take the time to Dr. Mohammad Asif Shah. Dr. Mohammad Asif Shah, if you turn on your camera, thank you so much. And because we dedicated a few time to you, and I know much time to you now, we would like to give you at least 5 to 6 minutes. You can conclude your speeches, and you can go on with the rest of your speeches in only 6 minutes. We will listen to you.
Okay, thank you. So as I discussed about the updation of skills in HR, so we have to ask a few questions to ourselves. Do we really need to adjust with these COVID-19? Because, for example, I will tell you what I had thought about Afghanistan. But coming to Afghanistan, I came to know about that it was only educational institutions who were closed during this pandemic. Everything was working as normal. all other ministries were working on almost. So do we really need to adjust it? Because you are paying a huge payment for getting such skills. Huh? So, and point number two is that how much of our workforce do we need to keep working virtually online? Can we make it 70-30, or can we make it 50-50, or can we make it 90-10, offline and online? And if we do it, then how it will impact our physical workplaces? For example, we had given the example of Afghanistan, and then how we have educatedly planned for such workplaces. For example, you used to be, for example, if I right now also can tell you that in our department, we used to be 12 or 13 professors in a single room, but now we have 13 separate cabinets for 13 people, clear? And then how you can reconfigure such workplaces. And then can we go for partnering for temporary workspace providers? Like, for example, I was talking about gig work. Can we go for gig work? Will our organization, we can say, make a solution for that? And in a long-term perspective, how it is going to impact us? We have to analyze all the skills and job posts. And one important part is that we have to go for the benchmark, which I already told about, that the Google, the Facebook, the world's best organizations or the best institutions, for example, Harvard, or we can say MIT and Oxford, they can be our benchmark for us. Then we can learn from them so that we can learn the short-term as well as long-term business strategy. And then we have to transform the HR operating model, which I was talking about, that whether we are not able to go for Canvas, then what is the best option? And we have to methodologically change the shape of the workforce. And we have to, the very important part is that we have to make our employees learn the digital part. So here there are few steps in recycling, which I will be finishing in 1 or 2 minutes. So the point number one is that HR managers, they need to map out which skill pools will disproportionately affect their organization and how they can move forward with them. Point number second is that they need to focus on their investments on 4 kinds of skills. For example, digital, cognitive, social, and we can say resilience. And HR managers, they should identify the different ways of, we can say, customized ways of connecting with their customer base. As I discussed it, that we can connect with our students. And point number 4 is that they need to relaunch, we can say, the recycling initiatives. And they should not launch them and then disband after the crisis, because we don't know when it is going to finish. Recently, for example, we all were expecting that COVID-19 is going to finish. No, now a new, we can say, updated virus has come from UK, and the vaccine which we were expecting, it is also relaunched. We should not launch the skilling initiatives and then disband them after the crisis. No, they can be a good learning for our future, we can say, events. And HR managers, they should go for decentralization of organizations where they can give trainings for small groups. And the last one is that they should not cut their training budgets. Rather, they should increase their training budgets so that it can be a good one for their organization. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving me time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammad Asif Shah. And now we reach at the end of our webinar. And at the last time, I would like to thank all the guests and all the professors who have participated in this webinar from all around the world, especially from those special guests from Dr. Mridul Darwal, Dr. Tashinder KAUR, Dr. Tawheed Nabi, Dr. Margi Parikh, Dr. Mohammad Asif Shah, and Dr. Khalid Siddiqian. And on behalf of Kahkashan-e-Sharq Institute of Higher Education Management teams, I'm thankful of your kindness and value speech regarding to human resources post-COVID-19. We will look forward to continue our friendship and have such virtual webinar in future. We really appreciate sharing your knowledge and experiences with all the participants around the world. Thank you so much, the professors. Thank you so much. And we really appreciate your sharing your knowledge. And we would like to continue the webinar.
Thank you so much, Bana.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bana. Have a nice day. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.